The next customer I'd like to invite on is Jeff Hohlfeldt. Are you there, Jeff? Hey, there you are. Hey,
Hello.
you put on a suit since we talked last week.
Yep. Out of the factory, off the factory floor and into the office.
Oh, man. Awesome. So Jeff is Vice President of Northern Industrial Manufacturing. And you and I were catching up last week. I was learning all about what you do, which I think is really impressive. Super high precision, high tolerance, very flat washers and shims. Jeff, you give us the pitch. What do you do and what makes you unique?
Yeah. So what I like to say when dealing with customers is you can have anything you want as long as it's round, flat, and shiny. And so basically what we do is we're that area in the design where we're making up for the tolerance stack ups for a variety of different manufacturers that are inherent in the supply chain process. So for example, in the example that we were mentioning when we were talking last is if you had 10 suppliers, let's say that purchasing and engineering design into an application, be it a transmission, axle, what have you. If those suppliers, when they actually go to deliver the parts into the line to be assembled onto a car or some form of mobility or transportation, those suppliers could deliver that part, let's say at +1, they could miss the spec high, they could miss the spec low at -1, or they could hit the spec right on for 0. So what the customers come to us for is they say, okay, well, we know that if all 10 of the suppliers end up at +1, that'll be a +10. When you add them all up together, they'll then reach for a -10 shim or washer from Northern. And then that'll get the application basically at 0. And likewise, if all the suppliers are under spec and it's -1, you'll be at a -10, and then they'll reach for a +10. So hypothetically, you could have anywhere from -10 all the way to +10. So for each transmission or axle or what have you, we'll have 20 different parts that could possibly go into each component. And so it's a very challenging and rewarding business. But we're making up that difference. Our part is very precise to make up for the lack of precision that might be inherent from the other suppliers when you bring it all together.
It made a lot of sense as you explained it, and lack of precision, and you could always pay for more precision from your gear manufacturer or whatever, but it's a cost optimization of the whole system, isn't it? And you guys provide, like a $1 washer that, otherwise you're going to hold a tighter tolerance on this gear that could be hundreds, thousands of dollars. So you guys actually serve a very important purpose I never thought about. How much precision or I guess tolerance do you hold in flatness?
Yeah, so when we look at our parts, we're looking at, in some cases, plus or minus, 5/10,000ths of an inch, 5/10. So you're talking fractions, 1/200th of the human hair. Wow. Is the type of flatness and thickness tolerance that we're holding. And again, this has to be very precise because as you bring in these components all together, we're that sort of last installation that the assembly floor is doing. And once we're installed, that basically optimizes all of the design at the very end. So it's certainly a unique challenge, but one that we rise to the occasion every day and certainly love producing these types of parts.
Oh yeah, mission critical. I mean, there's no shim for the shim if you guys miss the mark. So you were sharing that you use the DelmiaWorks suite of tools for ERP. How much of that solution do you use? What all functions use the DelmiaWorks?
Yeah, so we've been on DelmiaWorks for many years, since probably 2014, and we use it quite literally to run our entire operation. So anything from the label that spits out that we're putting on our boxes to even knowing how many parts go into a box or the types of machines that are running the parts that are needed. We use it for purchasing, for accounting, for EDI transmissions, electronic data interchange. Pretty much every customer point that is required of us to do business, we're needing to use DelmiaWorks in order to facilitate those customer touch points. That's awesome. So yeah, we could not run our business without it.
Yeah, that's a lot of areas that it touches. I also remember you were telling me that inspection is a big deal, and it's not just inspecting as parts leave the line, but you need to keep meticulous records for traceability, as a tier one automotive supplier.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And in fact, we were very happy. We recently, a couple of years ago, implemented statistical process control within the Delmia Works functionality, and have just been blown away at the level of meticulous record keeping that it allows us to have. I mean, we've all heard about the very famous airbag recalls that have been happening. Takata was the name of the company,
Right.
but these recalls were dating back to 1992. I mean, who's keeping records 10, 20, 30, 40 years? And one of the nice part about it is as the auto industry moved towards this record keeping having to be not just for 1 or 2 or 3 years, with Delmia Works as our partner, we're able to now retain through this system. We take the measurements. So right away, the system's telling our operators if it's a good part or a bad part, but it's not only telling the operators the level of whether it's good or bad, it's also able to then keep that. So if there's ever a question down the line,
Right.
our customers will know, okay, here's what the data showed back when we ran the job.
I know quality is a big part. I was checking out your website. I mean, quality is all over there. Quality is everyone's responsibility. It's a keystone of what makes us who we are. I think we all like to think that. We all like to say that. You were telling me a story. How do you reinforce that kind of culture every day to truly get that buy-in from your team that, yes, quality is first, that we're mission critical, do it right?
Yeah, so it's a challenge, and it's very much a team effort. And so what we try to do is absolutely from top down, our management team, our ownership team is very involved in quality, even to the tune of, look, I mean, we are human, so we're not robots, and we do make mistakes. And in the rare cases that a mistake is made within our operation, it's being handled not only by all the team members, but by ownership. I mean, there have been times where something might happen and there's a small issue. I'll be driving parts down to our customer's line and dealing with them direct in a matter of 24 hours. So a mistake could be made, and you have ownership heading down the path of, all right, we'll be dropping this ourselves, making sure it gets done right. And when you have that level of detail coming from all levels of the organization, quality ends up breeding quality.
Yeah. Oh, I love that so much. I wrote down when we were chatting last week, over responding to issues sends the clear signal. So you're telling me, hey, there's a mess up on an order, the parts didn't get there, you drive it down yourself, and do that face to face. I think that's so amazing, but it shows, anything you want to do culturally in a company, you got to start at the top and exhibit that behavior and make sure people understand what's important. And because of your commitment to quality, I know on your website you're featuring 8 years in a row GM Supplier Quality Excellence Award. So that's awesome, man. So like to get that award in a million parts, how many defects can you have or rejects?
Yeah, I mean, basically zero. So it's basically 100% on-time delivery. It's a level of superior satisfaction for customer service and engineering support. And it's basically 0 parts per million defects supplied to the assembly line. So yes, we're very, very proud of those awards. And really it takes every employee because, as you know, I mean, we're making 50 to 75,000 parts shipping to a customer every single day.
Oh my gosh.
Not one of those is allowed to be wrong. And
that's
again,
incredible.
they're only 1/200th of the human hair in thickness that they're allowed to be off by. So, I mean, you're talking about something that we're just so incredibly proud of our employees and our people and our processes. And really, I mean, Delmia Works is a massive part of that. And so, it's just a great thing we have going here.
I'm so glad we could be a part of that. And I wish we had more time because I want to understand more about your manufacturing. You were telling me about, taking the specialty sheet, double disc grinding. And then you were saying that you're holding that tolerance before you stamp these out. And so whatever you do in your stamping has got to hold that original material afterwards, I think is mind blowing. So you must have a talented team.
Yeah.
And something that you've been doing for many years. I think you tell me your grandfather started this business. So 44 years. How long have you been doing this?
Yeah. Yes, in 79. So yeah, 40,
Okay.
43, 44 years. And yeah, my grandfather started it, and my father's still very active in the business. And yeah, we're just a great team and love working in a family business.
I think that's so cool. So are your earliest memories like being in the shop or in the factory? I mean, has this just dominated your entire life growing up as this business?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, dominating might be a relatively strong word, but certainly from an early age was in and out of the factory, running around on the shop floor, not barefoot, probably not with steel-toed shoes on, but back then they might not have been required. But no, all joking aside, yeah, I mean, grew up remembering the smell of the gear oil and the parts washers, and yeah, I mean, it's a lot of fond memories. And being with my grandfather for a couple years before he passed, also really enjoyed that time, being able to work side by side with 3 generations. I mean, how many get to say that? It was a pretty rewarding experience.
It sounds very, very special. What we've really taken away talking to a lot of customers is just, there's a lot of inspiration from just people out there. And I think you're inspirational. You are a PE as well as you got your MBA. So, I mean, you really took the time to better yourself, skill up and be able to run the business that you do today. So yeah, definitely. That's a great job, a great job you're doing. Thank you so much for being a Delmiaworks customer, and good luck with the shims washers. And we'll check in with you again soon, Jeff. Thanks for joining us on Solidworks
Sounds
Live.
great. Thank you guys. Yeah, thank you very much, and we'll certainly be talking to you. Thank you, and Delmiaworks and Delmia and Dassault for having me on.
And yeah, you got to come to World next year. You're saying that you were in Nashville, right? That was your first 3D Experience World. So
yeah. So I've done the old IQMS or the old Delmiaworks shows, and I was really looking forward to being in Atlanta this year and seeing all the team, a lot of my old friends who are working behind the scenes there at Delmiaworks and Dassault, and was hoping to run into them this year. But there's always next year, and really like the events and like the face to face. Certainly miss the human connection.
Absolutely. Jeff, I look forward to meeting you in person then next year. And
likewise.
Till then, enjoy 3D Experience World.
Great. Yep. Thank you. We'll talk to you later.